Sanctuary. A world of mortals, monsters, gods, and demons. Where creatures range from whimsical and beautiful to monstrous and abominable. Here lies the story of Diablo, a tale of heroes and villains, of victory and defeat, and of monsters and men. Today, we will begin taking the time to catalog or create a bestiary of Sanctuary's creatures by going through Diablo 3's story act by act. Do be prepared for the horrors you will face while embarking on this journey with me, for I swear to keep you safe while on this tour. Now, let us embark and discover what creatures may lurk in the depths of Sanctuary. Beasts. Beasts are large, buffalo-like herd creatures often seen in the plain areas of Sanctuary. They say the large sluggish beast can thrive in any grassland or forest, provided there is enough water. Farmers will recognize these brutes as the savage cousins of the common pack beast, a tame breed that was likely domesticated nearly 2,000 years ago. Beasts are slow, but tough creatures, whose most famous attack is their bull charge. Before charging, they pause for a moment, pawing into the earth with one forelimb, and snorting a great plume of steam before rocketing straight ahead. However, this attack has a substantial flaw. The beast becomes clouded in anger, causing it to lose sight of the adventurer, allowing them to simply step out of the way. But if it hits, it will cause massive damage, knocking the target back and briefly stunning it. Their standard attack also contains ridiculous speed, and while not packing as much of a punch as their charge, it can still hurt even a seasoned adventurer. If enough of these creatures are to gang up on a single target, it would surely meet a brutal end. Little is known of these creatures' origins or family tree, other than the fact that they are a distant relative of the pack beast. They were also referred to as horned ground sloths, because while being aggressive and territorial, they are herbivores, eating only the grass of the fields. At one point in history, however, this name was abandoned in choice of the much simpler beasts. There also exist several unique variants of this species, all created by demonic magic. There exists the Horned Charger, a zombified version with exposed rotting flesh and bones. They are much harder to fight because of their lack of a sense of pain. There is also the Skeletal Beast, a considerably weak version compared to its counterparts, lacking both its strength and speed. But the deadliest of all is the Goliath, a version that retains its life but has been molded and morphed into a creature of hell, losing all sense of self. The Nephilim writes in their journal of two special beasts they encountered at the beginning of their journey, before reaching the Drowned Temple. One they named Charger, and one they named Growler. The beasts created constant problems at the beginning of my adventure. Their brute strength and dangerous temperament always proved to test my resolve time and time again. Carrion bats and their nests. Carrion bats are demonic beasts with uncertain origins, though the Nephilim speculated they hail from the depths of the Nine Hells. They are often encountered in areas that are dark, damp, and isolated, living in large packs. These bats use echolocation, though they have a single large eye in the center of their body. They're a nocturnal species, sleeping during the day and hunting at night for small, weak, or dead meat. They are especially attracted to the bones of demons. The death and destruction wrought by the prime evils in the western lands has done much to increase their numbers, and these poisonous little pests litter the fields and dungeons of Condorus and do not shy away from attacking living creatures. Some even refer to these creatures as death with wings, being quoted saying, "Some foul new disease has taken hold in this land, and the carrion bats are near the heart of it. Since returning to Tristram, I have seen their numbers surge. The evil forces that linger here give them strength, and I fear that the worst has yet to come." These creatures are often found alongside their nest, which in itself is a living organism, mutated by strange and uncertain dark magic. The Nephilim writes in their journal, "I was able to trace some carrion bats back to one of their nests. What I found shocked me. The nest itself is a living organism, a mature bat that has been mutated by the darkest of magics. I no longer doubt that the demonic forces have corrupted these creatures." However, while the nest itself is a living, large mutated carrion bat, it remains immobile, fixed tightly to the ground with a strange plant-style root system, making it clear that whatever has mangled with these bats is of a natural element, regardless of how unnatural it has become. There exist several variants of these bats, and their nests. Carrion nests, blood nests, plagued and cursed nests, all spawning the corresponding bat species. These nests are classified as animals/beasts, but unlike other monsters, they do not attack directly, but quickly spawn more and more carrion bats every few seconds until destroyed. Several nests at once may prove to be a deadly challenge, as the nests are quite durable and their spawn can quickly outnumber any adventurer that cannot focus either the nests or use area damage to keep the bats under control. It is advised to always look for a nest when encountering bats and take them out first, and after that the remaining bats should not be much of a problem. Though the carrion bats lack any special abilities or spells, a potent poison courses through their bodies, their attacks dealing additional poison damage. Carrion bats are generally weak and can often be one-shot by most adventurers. However, remember they can fly over impassable terrain, or even ascend from the pits to ambush their prey. The Nephilim speaks of two special carrion bats they encountered before reaching the Drowned Temple. A fire starter, a carrion bat perfectly harmonizing with the element of fire, and Glidewing, a carrion bat so filled with its toxic poison that it seeped out of its body and into the surrounding area. It wasn't long before I recognized that where one carrion bat is found, there are thousands more lurking unseen. Ghosts. The tragedies in these lands have left many relentless spirits in their wake, and they demand retribution. These spirits will take out their vengeance on any unsuspecting individual who may pass, for they believe that the blood of the living will yet restore the lives that were ripped away from them. Ghosts are simple, yet complex. The remaining emotions of a mortal, along with the natural magic of the world, swirl together to create an echo of the creature. It's uncertain why the world magic does this, but some believe it to be a form of vengeance granted by nature and given to those who have been wronged, while others believe it to be a lingering darkness that exists within all mortal souls, finally being freed as the rest fades away, only leaving the worst parts to reside. Regardless of the method of which they come to be, these spirits are often angry and violent towards the living, lashing out at any in their path. Oftentimes, they are bound to an area and unable to leave the confines of a certain distance. Though, this isn't always the case, and in rare circumstances, the ghost might be so powerful that it breaks this boundary, moving freely throughout the realm, usually causing destruction and mayhem in its wake. There are also rare instances of a creature being so full of positive emotion that upon death they return retaining their personality, oftentimes also being able to move freely throughout the realm. While on their adventures, the Nephilim wrote about a few ghosts they had the displeasure of putting to rest, so, in honor of their memory, and so that they might never truly be forgotten, I will now speak their names. Digger Odell, Data Minor, John Gorham Coffin, and Drury Brown. The Nephilim also encountered a Lucius the Depraved, but mentioned that they were especially despicable, making the decision to exclude them from the moment of honor clear. To be expected of ghosts, they aren't especially strong on average, but instances of massively destructive ghosts do exist, so confront them with caution, weary adventurers. I find on this journey that no matter how many lost souls I put to rest, there is always another waiting around the corner. Grotesques and corpse worms. Grotesques are often encountered within the depths of caves, cellars, dungeons, or other dark and isolated places. They are lethal creatures for two reasons. First, they are capable of dealing damage by producing spikes from their short, stubby arms and slamming forward. Secondly, grotesques are basically living piñatas, and upon death they explode and expel whatever lurks within their bellies. These two abilities have been inscribed within the Nephilim's journal to be known as Spike Thrust, where the grotesque rushes into melee range and quickly jabs at the target with sharp tentacle-like spikes concealed within its flesh, which will cause damage as well as knockback to any adventurer hit by it, and its most fatal attack, Rupture, where upon death, the grotesque swells in size and bursts open, dealing explosive damage to everything caught in the blast and unleashing several creatures from within its belly, known as the corpse worms. Should this move kill any adventurer, all that would be left is bloody chunks of his or her body. Unlike most damaging abilities of creatures, Ruptures causes damage to other creatures as well, including other grotesques. The damage is high enough to instantly kill a lesser enemy, but will not one-shot an adequately geared adventurer. Before exploding, the grotesque will begin to hover for a few seconds, revealing a visual range of the blast, which is indicated by a faint red glow. The danger zone. When a grotesque dies, you have approximately 3 seconds to run for cover before the creature detonates. This explosion triggers regardless of how the monster is killed, and if they have a molten curse, 2 explosions will occur. Grotesques are dangerous foes mostly because of their intense rupture attack. However, they are surprisingly fast for their size, so think twice before attempting to outrun one. Like most enemies, grotesques are at their deadliest when encountered in groups. When multiple grotesques die simultaneously, it can create a nightmare, even for a seasoned party. The grotesque's rupture can be used against other creatures, however. For example, when you battle a group of creatures including a grotesque, make the grotesque your priority. The explosion will take out most of the other enemies nearby. This also works for the rare pack of grotesques and unique monsters. Killing one might detonate the entire pack, and spawned creatures may be killed by the explosion of another grotesque. Monsters spawned from the grotesque upon death including corpse worms, death imps, vile swarms, spiderlings, and even wretched mothers, depending on the location. However, today we will only cover the corpse worms, the first spawn that the Nephilim encountered on their journey. Corpse worms are squirming eel-like creatures that emerge in a flood from a ruptured grotesque. They are not powerful, and they are disgusting. They must be stomped out. Besides corpse worms, there also exist 2 variants, the electric eels and lamprey. Lamprey are a very special variant of corpse worms only encountered in the tidal caves beneath the Grey Hollow Island. They appear as a single worm rather than a large pack of 3. And they crawl out of any object or over the edge of rocks. The Nephilim speaks of a few special grotesques they encountered before reaching the Drowned Temple. One Bellybloat the Scarred, a Brocklol Grimlow, Ectul, a Goblard, one Horus the Night Stalker, and finally Ragus Grimlow. The grotesques may seem slow and senseless, but they hide many dangers within their hideously malformed bodies. A set of spikes lurks beneath the creature's flesh, and a foul parasite nests within them. It is said these horrors themselves are constructed by a greater evil, a darkness that I cannot even begin to fathom. Hungry corpses and crawling torsos. hungry corpses appear wherever mortal men have been buried. They are faster, tougher, and stronger than the average risen, which we will cover in a later part of this series. But they are far fewer in number. One can easily recognize them by their more massive physique, their large and gnarly bodies being swollen from rot, festering with bugs and parasites. They still share their lesser cousin's intelligence, however, often found shambling around aimlessly, hungering from one corpse to the next. They are often found hiding, crawling out of barrels and pits to ambush adventurers, and additionally, hungry corpses will oftentimes spawn a crawling torso after dying. An easy way to assure this doesn't happen is to damage the hungry corpse's body and brain to a critical extent. Sometimes, a hungry corpse will even fall forward, splitting themselves in half, almost voluntarily creating a crawling torso. These prone problems are just as fast and strong as their standing counterpart. However, they lack the vitality that their standing counterparts contain. In some areas, most notably the Weeping Hollow, bands of crawling torsos can emerge from the bushes and ambush unweary travelers. Crawling torsos can be a surprise, but they are nevertheless weak, a single hit often sufficing to send them back towards their graves. Note that crawling torsos do not expire on their own. You need to land a killing blow in order to get rid of them. There exists a few variants of these creatures, such as the blue hungry corpse, rancid stumbler, which when dying drops a dust biter, and lastly, the green bloated corpse, dropping a voracious torso after dying. However, we will be discussing the rancid stumbler, dust biter, bloated corpse, and voracious torso at a later time. Along the Nephilim's adventures, he noted 2 special hungry corpses before reaching the Drowned Temple, those being Father Wraith and Lord Stewart. The gluttony of men knows not even death, for I have seen the extent of which it can corrupt, creating beasts that hunger until the end of time. Thank you all for joining me. I hope you have all found this information to be of great assistance, and along your adventures, remember to keep it fresh in your mind. If you're interested in learning more about the Beasts of Sanctuary, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and join the Orphan Guild. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this first part of hopefully a long and amazing series. I have been your narrator, the D&D Orphan, wishing all of you lovely adventurers happy hunting.